You hear it everywhere, right? AI is here to make our lives easier, to do all the heavy lifting for our brains. The promise is pretty clear. Less work for us, more time to think about the big stuff.
But what if that's not the whole story? What if, in some ways, AI is actually making our brains work harder? Does it really make you think less?
Well, when you dig into the research, the answer is fascinating and a little complicated. It turns out the answer is a big yes and also a big no. Let's unpack that paradox.
Okay, let's start with the promise, the part we're all excited about, the AI brain boost. This is the idea that's been sold to us. So to get this, we first need to talk about something called cognitive load. The easiest way to think about it is like this. Imagine your brain is a web browser. Cognitive load is just the number of tabs you have open. The more tabs, the more mental energy you're using, and the more likely everything starts to slow down or even crash.
So the promise of AI is that it's like this amazing browser extension for your mind. It jumps in and automates all those boring, routine tasks, scheduling, formatting, all that stuff. It filters out the noise so you can focus. It can take really complex ideas and make them simple. And in a learning setting, it can even create a personalized lesson just for you. The whole point? To close down all those unnecessary mental tabs so you can free up brain power for the important things, like being creative and thinking deep.
That all sounds pretty great, doesn't it? But this is where our story takes a really interesting twist. The reality of using AI day to day, well, it reveals a surprising paradox.
Okay, so on the left, you see the expectation. AI reduces our workload, tasks get easier, we feel more relaxed. But the reality, shown in study after study, is often the exact opposite. AI can actually increase our mental demand, leading to more stress. And get this, one study found that the more you use AI, the more intense that cognitive strain can feel. And check this out. In a study with software developers, they found something that seems totally contradictory. When using AI, the developers felt way more productive. But at the same time, the actual measurements showed their cognitive load, how hard their brains were working, was higher. So they felt like they were getting more done, but their brains were running a marathon to do it. How is that even possible?
Well, this quote from a senior test automation engineer kind of nails it. He said, "You're not fixing one abstract problem, you're fixing two, which is the original problem, and then the problem that the assistant created." And that's it right there. You're not just doing your job, you're also managing the AI while it does its job.
So why is this happening? To really solve this puzzle, we have to deconstruct cognitive load and look at what it's actually made of.
Okay, so cognitive load theory tells us there are actually three different kinds of mental effort. First, there's intrinsic load. That's just how hard the task is, period. Then you have extraneous load, which is all the useless mental effort from, say, a confusing interface or bad instructions. And finally, you have germane load. Now this is the good stuff. This is the effort your brain puts into actually understanding something deeply and form long-term memories.
So AI is an absolute superstar at getting rid of one of these. Extraneous load. It cleans up all the mental junk, it automates formatting, filters out distractions. Basically, it clears the path so you can focus on the real work. And that's a huge win. But, and this is the absolute key to the whole paradox, while AI is busy closing some of those mental tabs, it's opening up brand new ones. The work of checking the AI's output, of managing the tool, of correcting its mistakes, that all creates a new cognitive load. So it's not really a simple reduction of work. It's more like a redistribution of it. Let's bring this down to earth and see how this plays out in a place that's really important to all of us, the classroom. For students, the benefits are pretty obvious. AI can create personalized learning plans and present information in the best possible way. But the downside, the big con, is the risk that they'll just rely on it too much and their own critical thinking skills might suffer. For teachers, it's a similar story. The pro? AI can automate grading and monitoring. The con? It creates this new burden of having to constantly supervise the AI and fact-check everything it produces.
And this all leads to a really important, maybe even a little scary question. Is AI de-skilling our educators?
Here's the concern. When an AI tool works like a black box, it just spits out an answer without showing its work, it can start to take over the very things that make a teacher an expert. Skills like diagnosing why a student is struggling or making a tough judgment call in the classroom, that's how teachers grow and develop their expertise. If we automate all of that away, we might be trading real, human skill for cheap efficiency.
So it's definitely a complicated picture.
But it's not all doom and gloom. There is a path forward. And it involves a new way of thinking about our role with AI, a role that some are calling the cognitive orchestrator.
This is a pretty cool idea. Instead of just passively accepting whatever the AI gives us, we become active conductors. We become cognitive orchestrators. Our new job is to strategically balance our own knowledge with what the algorithm suggests, deciding what to hand off and, just as importantly, what mental work to keep for ourselves.
So how do you actually do that? Well, it boils down to 4 steps. 1. Automate the extraneous. Give all the boring, low-value stuff to the AI. 2. Scaffold the intrinsic. Use AI to help break down big problems, but don't let it solve them for you. 3, and this is so important, protect the Germane. Save your brain power for the kind of effort that leads to deep learning and real skill. And finally, number 4, always verify. Always. Treat anything an AI gives you as a first draft, never the final word.
Because at the end of the day, the goal is shifting. It's not just about reducing our cognitive load anymore. It's about intelligent load management. It's about being strategic, using these incredible tools to augment our own thinking, not replace it.
Which leaves us with one last big question. There's no doubt that AI is changing how we work and how we learn. The real question is, are we ready to change how we think about thinking itself?